Alrighty, let's go. Welcome back into the Skooshi Sport Podcast and your continuation of your NRL 2026 season team previews, where this is number 12 for the season preview so far. We literally have 5 more to go after I finish this one. It has been honestly so fun. This is my first ever time doing the podcast coming up to NRL season. Literally deep diving into every single team has been so incredibly fun. It really feels like I get a good gauge on how the season is going to go. Gets my predictions looking good. Obviously for Supercoach, other things, just to really get a good gauge on how I think the season will go. This episode, we have got the mighty Penrith Panthers losing their streak last year of 4 premierships in a row, losing in the prelim to the Brisbane Broncos. Before we get started, make sure you give this video a massive like and a subscribe to the channel as well. As I said, preview number 12, so make sure you go check out the other 11. I've just come out with the Roosters one around the same time as this one here, so I'm recording this literally after the Roosters. But we've done Manly, we've done the Raiders, we've done the Warriors, Cowboys, Doggies, Dolphins, Tigers, Sharks, Titans, and the Dragons. So if you're one of those teams fans, make sure you go check that out as well if you missed it. And make sure you go check out my full 1-17 ladder predictor I brought out literally 5-6 weeks ago, which is super contentious. Holy dooly. This one here, Penrith Panthers. I've got them finishing first, baby. I've got the minor premiers for the year. I think it's a massive revenge year for the Penrith Panthers. I think they'll be locked in the whole season. I think they'll be on a revenge run. I think they'll be premiers as well. I think they'll do the double. I think they'll absolutely smash them this season. I don't see how they just don't. I think even though they've got a pretty tricky draw, I think they'll absolutely just kill it. They've got the ability to beat anyone on a day. I think they've got the best player in the world in Nathan Cleary. But let's do a recap. Let's go through. So what I do is do a little bit of a 2025 recap, sort of where they finished on the ladder, that sort of thing. Looking at their 2026 gains and losses for the season. Who have they gained for the season that I think can actually change their squad in their 1-17 or even just their depth squad? And then we're going to have a look at their 2026 losses. Who is a sort of a loss in that team that may affect them how they go this season? And then we're going to have a look at their best 1-17 and then the rest of their squad. Just a little PSA, their 1-17 has hardly changed from the prelim last year. Then we're going to go through their draw analysis. How they're looking for their draw coming into 2026. As I said, is one of the harder draws, but we'll get into it. Let's get stuck into it. As I said, Penrith Panthers, my minor premiers for 2026. And honestly, this is something I predicted myself. Honestly, as soon as probably they lost that prelim against the Broncos. They absolutely choked it away. What was it, 14-0 at halftime? They were up. Looked like they were going to make a 6th grand final in a row. Looking like they're probably going to win a 5th premiership. They ended up losing to the Premiers, the Broncos there, but they absolutely choked that game away. They had a chance to go, what was it, close to 20-0 up at the start of the second half in that prelim. And took a mighty effort by Reece Walsh to stop that try. And then they just kind of fell apart, which is not how the story of the season for the Panthers, but it was definitely a weird year. We probably thought like they couldn't just keep winning and winning after winning 4 in a row. You think, could they honestly win 5? Like, yeah, it was doable. Can they just keep it up? Can they just or they're going to falter? And we saw at the start of the season, they were faltering big time. I think, what was this team after 12 rounds? Literally last on the ladder. I think they had won 4 games. I think they had lost 7, had a draw in there as well. They were just not looking like the Penrith Panthers that we're used to. Not like they had a whole heap of injuries as well. Just looked like everyone was kind of just a little bit tired. And instead of gear 5, they're in about gear 3 or 4. And it just, they couldn't quite close out matches. They were conceding a lot of points. It was just really weird to see. And then the big turning point was actually against my boys, the Warriors. It was after Origin 2, Origin 2 was played in Perth. And then after that Origin game, they had a game against the Warriors in Auckland. So they couldn't play any of their stars at all. They had literally their New South Wales Cup. Ivan Cleary just decided to send pretty much the New South Wales Cup side to Auckland. Just see how it goes. There's a good chance they'll lose. I remember the 10.5 point underdogs against the Warriors at home. And they won that bloody game. And that win just seemed like, even though you didn't have your Clearys, you didn't have Edwards, you didn't have To'o playing, you didn't have Isaiah Yeo playing there as well. I'm sure there's someone else I am missing from that list as well. Then have Liam Martin playing there as well. And then they just won, and the belief in that turnaround was just insane. They just thought, you know what, let's go make the top 8. We can make top 8. And honestly, with literally like 3 weeks to go, it looked like they could make top 4, which was the most insane thing ever. They ended up finishing 7th for the season in the ladder, won 13, lost 10, and draw 1. I believe that was against the Cowboys. Attack-wise, scored 576 points for the year, which ranked 7th on the ladder there. Points conceded was 469, so that was 3rd for the year, which is very good defense in the top 4 there. So overall, looking at that 7th sort of finish was probably, I guess, like fair, I guess you'd have to say. Plus points difference of 107. Ivan Cleary is the coach, contract until end of 2027. I have seen some rumors that he's got a big payday coming that will be like another 5-year extension along with Nathan Cleary there as well. Let's have a look at their 2026 games for the season. Not too many that'll actually impact the 1-17, but some good sort of handy backups if there was to be any injuries. Honestly, so many Warriors New South Wales Cup players. Just like they sniped, 4 of them, I believe. You got Tom Ale, a guy I used to really like at the Warriors in New South Wales Cup. Just didn't quite get his opportunity. Sad to see him go. Let's just go through the Warriors one. So Tom Ale, he's a really handy backup forward if one of these guys gets injured or maybe during Origin time. Kalani Going, New South Wales Cup Player of the Year last year. He is epic. I don't think he's going to get too much opportunity in this team, unfortunately. Maybe in the 14 role. Just never know. But he is unbelievable. Sad the Warriors let him go as well. Freddie Larsick, a guy that was starting a few games here and there for the Warriors in the NRL team last year. Now he's not even in the 17 for me in the Panthers. Super handy back up there in the number 9 there, or even halfback potentially there as well. Mainly number 9. And the other one is Toby Crosby, an absolute beast forward coming from the New South Wales Cup Warriors as well. He's signed for the year as well. He's going to be unreal. I think he'll be close to making the 17 at the end of the year just with how good he is. And then the other one there is Jack Cogger making his return from the Newcastle Knights. You could call Jack Cogger a premiership hero kind of from that 2023 grand final there. Finally makes his return back to Penrith. 2026 losses. No one like massive. As I said, that 1-17 is very similar to how the prelim team looked. I'm just going to go through the main ones. We've got Dane Laurie heading off to the Raiders, a guy that never started at fullback, only during Origin period for Dylan Edwards there. A guy that maybe played 10, 15 minutes at the end in the number 17 role, 14 role for Panthers if needed. But not a huge loss. Not a huge loss. Brad Schneider's off to the Dolphins. They got Jack Cogger back, so he's essentially that like-for-like replacement backup, halfback if needed. Luke Summerton, he's off to the Titans, a guy that played a little bit here and there for the Panthers in NRL last year. But again, not too much of a massive loss there. And then Trent Tolau as well. Little handy sort of backup outside back there for the Panthers as off to the Storm. Like I said, you look at their losses, not a huge amount of big losses. They've lost so many big players, right? They've lost Jerome Luai. They've lost Stephen Crichton. They've lost plenty of players. Sania Taruva. The list goes on and on and on. James Fisher-Harris, of course. The list goes on and on and on about the players they've lost, but they just keep producing these younger players that come through, and it just keeps seeing the happening for the Panthers. But let's look at that 1-17. It's honestly, I think it's like for like exactly the same as how they lined up in that prelim final. Your fullback Dylan Edwards, a guy that was honestly super shaky for the back half or quite a lot of last year, I thought. Just didn't quite look like the Dylan Edwards that we know, and the guy that competed in Origin. Was dropping high balls. He looked tired. Dylan Edwards is a guy that can go a very, very long time and run a lot, and just wasn't quite there. Bit of an off year for Dylan Edwards. Do expect him to bounce back, though. He's just that kind of player. On your wings, you can do a couple things here. I'm going to put Brian To'o and Paul Alamotti on the wings here. Bizza had a bit of a down year last year. Bizza was injured a little bit, but he's just a weapon, man. He's probably the best winger in the comp, I think. He is incredible. His meterage out of his back end is incredible. Over 200 meters easily every single game, it seems like. Scores the tries. His running is just like the modern winger these days. You've got to be able to run a lot out of your backfield. That's exactly what he does. He busts so many tackles. It's just unbelievable watching him. And then Paul Alamotti on the wing seemed like the feel-good story near the back end of last year in that final sort of series. He got the start in Vegas in started 2025, and then just sort of had a couple bad games and actually got dropped in New South Wales Cup. And then saw him like come back near the back end of the season. You're like, where was this Alamotti near the start of the season? He just absolutely turned it on. He destroyed the Bulldogs. He scored a double against the Broncos in the prelim. He scored against the Warriors. I think he did as well. He absolutely destroyed it at the back end of last year. Absolutely destroyed it. In your centers, you're on your right center, you got Isaac Tungo, of course. I mean, he is so good, right? I really like Isaac Tungo. If he improves his defense, he'll be awesome. And then you got Casey McLean. Casey McLean, literally probably the best young winger young center going around in the comp at the moment. He's an unbelievable talent. He destroys it for New Zealand every time he puts on that jersey as well. Unbelievable talent. Absolutely unbelievable. Obviously, you got Jesse there as well, but he doesn't quite make the team yet. But Casey is an absolute weapon. Absolute weapon. Let's get into the halves. Halves don't change much from last year. Blaze Talangi there in the 6. I think my call for 2026, Blaze Talangi will be a Dally N58 of the year. We know how talented he was when he was at the Eels. And then he finally got his opportunity sort of near halfway-ish through the start of through 2025. And he kept getting better and better and better and better. Yes, his defense needs to improve, 100%. But in terms of hands on the ball, he is unbelievable. You've got one of the best 6-7 combinations going around in the comp there. I love Blaze this year. Got a full offseason now in that 6 role with the Panthers and Nathan Cleary and Dylan Edwards and Mitch Kenny to provide something. He is going to be absolutely unbelievable this year, Blaze Talangi. I think he'll kill it. Absolutely kill it. 7 role, I mean, it's your captain. Nathan Cleary goes without said. Best player in the world. Does he play Origin? I mean, probably. Does he play shit at Origin? Yes. Could he have been better in the Ashes? Yes, of course. He didn't really do too much. Didn't have to really do too much, but such a vital part of this Panthers team. He is unbelievable. He's crazy. He is crazy, man. In your forwards, he's pretty much to go without saying as well. Moses Leota, one of the Bash Bros. Obviously, he had James Fisher-Harris leave last year, but that meant we had the Lindsay Smith come through as a starting role. He got his opportunity to debut for the Kangaroos at the end of 2024 there, and it was well-deserved as well. I love Lindsay Smith. He's just a big, friendly giant, but holy dooly, he is an absolute weapon. He is an absolute beast to have in the forward line there. In your hooker role, we've gone for Mitch Kenny. Now, Mitch Kenny, a guy that through the whole of their 4 premierships just seems to go a little bit under the radar. You know, he doesn't do too much. Just feed good service to Edwards, Cleary, you know, it was Luai, now it's Talangi. And it seems like when Mitch Kenny is out, it actually makes a huge difference to this Panthers team. The good service, the amount of tackles that he makes, just the overall all reliable hooker that you need. It doesn't have to do anything special. No, doesn't score tries, doesn't make line breaks. Just a guy that gives good service and makes a lot of tackles. Doesn't make too many mistakes. Mitch Kenny is so under the radar. Such a low-key, vital piece of this Panthers team. He is what I like to call the linchpin of a team. A guy that literally connects one side of the train to the other side of the train, right in the middle there. And he's out and makes such a difference, I think, to this team. On your edges, I would like to see this change. I think this is how they'll line up for round 1. But we've got Liam Martin there on the right. Liam Martin. I get it. He's awesome. He's not a guy that's a stat sheet player. He's a guy that you literally look at his stats at the end of the game and you think, oh my God, 6 runs for 48 meters. What are you doing, Liam? Gets picked for Origin. I don't know with Liam. I don't know if it's... Yeah, I'd like to see potentially someone else in there. I'll mention him. He's on the bench. I think his other edge guy, Scott Sorensen, is actually better than him. Liam Martin, he's definitely an impact player. I just like to see him actually take more hit-ups. I like to see him actually do more work out of his own half. I like to see him score more tries, but yet he always seems to get picked for Origin, that sort of thing. I don't agree with it generally. I think other people deserve to maybe get in there, like maybe Hamole deserves to get in there. Maybe Jacob Preston deserves to get in there. I'm not quite sure. Also, Scott Sorensen there on the left when he's not injured. In your 13 role, goes without saying, Isaiah Yeo, co-captain with Nathan Cleary, literally the Australian lock, New South Wales lock, doesn't go unnoticed. He is so bloody good. To say less about Isaiah Yeo. In your 14 role, I've gone for Jack Cole there, a guy that is sort of like a backup half here and there, can give a little bit of service there out of the 9 role. Would not shock me to see a Jack Cogger there maybe. If you want to really spice it up, maybe you can get a Kalani going in there. Maybe you can get a Freddie Lussick in there. You just never know. If Jack Cole doesn't quite perform, I think he's got a bit of pressure on him for that 14 role. I get it, it's only a 14 role, but anyone in this Panthers squad will be looking at that starting 17 going like, I want one of those spots. I want to be in that team, a successful team that I know can go and win a premiership. So yeah, going for Jack Cole there in that 14 role. In the 15, this is my guy I want to see potentially replace Liam Martin in the future, and that is Isaiah Papali'i. A guy that came over from, started the Eels. He was a beast, went to the Tigers, just didn't quite click at the Tigers. Now he's gone to the Penrith Panthers. What an opportunity. What an actual improve of sides. Isaiah Papali'i, a guy that it wasn't quite on last year, mainly because he's coming off the bench. I want to see him get his opportunity in a starting role. I want to see him really perform there as well. We know the potential that Papali'i has, and we know how bloody good he can be, and I do want to see it. I want to see it from Isaiah. I want to see him get a starting role. I think he deserves it. I want to see him start really hot and put some pressure on Liam Martin there. In his 16 role, got Luke Garner there. Very solid sort of like backup edge row, really good defender as well. And then Liam Henry there. So only really one big forward, I guess, in the middle there, which is Liam Henry to replace Moses Leota. In the middle role there, I guess you can potentially move Isaiah Papali'i to the 13 role and get Isaiah Yeo into the forward role there once sort of Moses Leota or Lindsay Smith do come off, but we'll find out. We'll find out. In terms of the rest of the squad, it is absolute loaded. Any of these guys can pretty much honestly start in a lot of other NRL teams, which is wild to think about. You got Trent Tolau. I think he would start in most NRL teams. Jesse McLean, I think, would start in a few NRL teams on the wing. You got Luron Patea, who is an up-and-coming forward gun for the Panthers. There's an injury in the Panthers. He is straight in there, a forward. He has got a motor on him. When we saw him last year, he was awesome. You got Matt Eisenhuth, unbelievable. You got Jack Cogger, also really handy. Literally, probably was a big underlying part of Nathan Cleary's comeback in that 2023 grand final. Tom Jenkins, the Milky Man kid. Milky Boy kid. Like, unbelievable. When he started last year in that role for sort of Paul Armodi, he was awesome as well. Absolutely awesome. Tom Ale, I think, an up-and-coming potential forward. Kalani Going, literally New South Wales Cup Player of the Year 2025. You've got Jackson Edgar, another player coming up as well. Freddie Lussick, a guy that's literally started NRL games for the Warriors. And then you got Toby Crosby there as well. Toby Crosby, if he performs really well in the New South Wales Cup and gets his opportunity, I think as soon as he gets NRL time, he will absolutely be guns blazing. He is awesome. I am gutted the Warriors let go of him. Absolutely gutted the Warriors let go of him. But that squad is loaded. Like, if you have injuries, maybe in your centers, you might have a tiny bit of a struggle there, but you can just, I guess, put Jesse McLean in there. You can got Tom Jenkins there and in there. Not the Milky Boy kid, the Milky Bar kid. What am I thinking, Skooshi? Absolute deep squad. I think that 117, along with the Roosters, is looking like top 2 in the comp. Maybe you can put the Broncos there as well, but that is a pretty powerful 1-17. That 1-13 is loaded with representative players. Absolutely loaded with representative players. Let's have a look at their draw. If you're coming from the draw video, I released a draw video, I think the week before my ladder predictor, and they probably have the hardest draw in the whole comp, which they will look at and think, sweet, we'll be up for the challenge. Other teams will look at that and go, had that schedule and be like, oh shit. But the Panthers, if there's any team that can actually do it, it will be them. So they still don't have a stadium there in Penrith. They're playing a lot of their home games at CommBank. They only have 9 of their 12 home games at CommBank though. They play one in Bathurst. They take one to Mudgee there as well, and the other one is at Magic Round. They do split a lot of their games throughout the season. They have 2 on Thursday, 3 on Friday, 3 Saturday, and 4 Sunday. Not too many. They stay in Sydney quite a bit. 7 return flights back to sort of Sydney there. In terms of who they have to play in the top 8 twice, including, there obviously 7 other teams in the top 8 apart from them, right? They play 6 of them. 6 of them, which is crazy to think about. They play the Broncos twice. They play the Bulldogs twice. They play the Raiders twice. They play the Storm twice. They play the Roosters twice. And they play the Warriors twice. The only team in the top 8 there that in 2025 that don't play twice is the Sharks. Brutal schedule. Literally playing 6 of the top 8 teams, playing all of the top 4 twice. But as I said, there's any team that can actually go and do it, it is the Penrith Panthers. So that's 6 of the 8 teams they play twice. The others is Eels and Tigers, which is not too bad. Although I think, honestly, it's not like it's like the Dragons or like the Titans or Cowboys, that sort of thing. I think Eels will be close to the 8, and I think Tigers, they should be relatively close to the 8, I think, as well. I said they played the top 4 8 times. They played the top 8 13 times. More than half their games are against top 8 teams. They only played literally the bottom 4 from last year. Only play them once each. They have, the only good thing is they have no 5-day turnarounds, which there's only a handful of teams that do. They are one of the few teams that play 3 games in a row on the road. A lot of teams this year, if you look at their schedule, which was actually done by AI, they play just 2 games on the road, then they go back home. The Panthers are one of the few teams that actually have 3 games in a row on the road. They have buys in round 12, 15, and 19. So do fit into that origin period there, which does help them for sure. Obviously, if you look at their team, you've got Dylan Edwards, you've got Brian Toto, you've got Nathan Cleary, you've got potentially Lindsay Smith, you never know. You've got Liam Martin, you've got Isaiah Yeo. 6, 7 origin players there, crazy. Similar to sort of the Roosters. So Roosters and Panthers is going to be very interesting to see how they do go during the origin period, missing a lot of stars. We know that was a turnaround point for the Panthers though last year, winning after Origin 2 really did turn their season around. The fact is they start 11 games straight, and then the first bye, and then they have 3 byes literally in the span of 8 weeks. So they only play around 13, 14, 16, 17, 18. So they only play 5 games in a matter of 8 weeks. I get it's during Origin period. A lot of those other guys will be playing 3 games anyway. That is, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe you want one near the start. Maybe you want one near the end. Maybe after round 20. But I guess they'll probably take the fact that they have a bye after Origin 3. I think looks like they have the bye when they'll be missing their stars in Game 1 and Game 2 as well. So maybe it does work out quite well for them. But overall, I just don't see where the Panthers, I guess, falter. If they can get through that Origin period unscathed, I think they'll absolutely light up the comp this year despite their hard schedule. I think a lot of those hard games will actually battle harden them. They open the season against the Broncos, which is absolute cracker. Finals revenge, I think they really win that one well. And I think the good thing for the Panthers is they'll just be really locked in most of the season, knowing they've got a lot of tough games coming. I don't think they'll shy away at all from it. And when it comes to an easy match, I think they'll absolutely batter them because they're so used to smashing these good, going against these good teams. They'll come up against the bottom 8 team or bottom 4 side. They'll absolutely pile it on. I just don't see them having too many flat spots. I think they'll be super locked in. I think it's a big revenge season coming for the Panthers. I have the minor premiers. I think they'll be premiers as well, winning 5 out of 6 premierships. The dynasty is not over. The dynasty is nowhere near over for the Panthers. I think they win it all this year. They are my premiers and minor premiers, as I said. But that will do it for the season preview podcast of the Penrith Panthers, going through the 2025 recap, looking at 2026 gains and losses for the season and how they impact their 1 to 17. Then we go through their best 1 to 17, I think, for round 1 and the rest of the look at their squad, which is looking pretty tidy. And then the toughest draw in the NRL for whole of 2026. We analyze it, how it looks through it, how they fare through the origin period. But That will do it. As I said, remember to go check out the other 11 teams that I've done. If you just come from the Roosters, remember to go check out the other 10 that I've done in previous weeks. Remember to go check out the ladder predictor. Remember to go check out the draw video that I've done as well. It's all there for you. NRL content coming out every single Tuesday morning, right up pretty much every single Monday, right? Every single Tuesday. Sorry, I record every Monday. Every single Tuesday, you'll have an NRL video, whether it's NRL like preseason, and NRL season starts, and then it'll be Origin, and then finals, and then it's like the Pac Champs, and then there's always something happening with NRL. Then we get stuck into our previews again for 2027. So it's all happening. It's all here. But thank you so much for watching, and cheers.